In this video, I'm going to outline some of my final thoughts as I look over the semester and what I've learned so far. To start this final reflection, I thought I'd look over the learning objectives from each unit. So, starting with Unit 1, which is dealing with the theory of multimodal content, evaluating it, and looking at it in terms of affordances. I think I definitely have a deeper understanding of the theories behind multimodal content. So, learning preferences through VARC, Mayer's multimedia principles, and I think I have a better understanding of how to apply them in different contexts, and especially in an online context. When it comes to affordances, as I spoke about in one of my reflections before, this was something I really felt found fascinating. So the the terms universal design, inclusive design, and accessibility, as I said in my reflection, they are often used interchangeably, and it is hard to make clear definitions for each. But when it came to affordances, I think this is a concept that I understand very well now, that I did not know anything about before I started the semester. So, affordances, like the analogy I used with the shower head in my reflection, I find that affordances I see now everywhere. In fact, the platform I'm using to create this video is frustrating me a bit because there are some affordances missing. Things are not obvious. The icon does not obviously tell you what this thing is for. What is the relationship between me, the user, and the function of this object? So, definitely, affordances, it's made me think a lot deeper about that. Moving on to Learning Unit 2, I think this Learning Unit has me a bit conflicted. As I said in, I think it was Reflection 6, some of the objectives listed here aren't really aligned with what we ended up doing within the semester. Um, but applying constructivist principles to multimodal learning, I think we did cover that, and we've done it in a previous module as well. And we definitely planned how to create multimodal content for online learning using multiple modes to engage an educated audience. I think what was missing is the actual creation of multimodal content until this reflection exercise or this reflection assessment at the end. And I think even within this reflection assessment, it's I can see how to apply multimodal content, but because it's not really for learning, but rather for reflection, it is a bit more of a challenge for me. But I think overall, learning how to plan and design and implement multimodal content, I'm much more confident now than I was at the beginning of the semester. Just looking at the last two or three outcomes, I don't feel very confident in storyboarding. Maybe I don't quite understand the concept of storyboarding. I don't remember us going over that. And e learning authoring tools, that's something that I'm a bit nervous about. I see it in a lot of job descriptions for instructional designers, and I feel that that is something that I am lacking at the moment. Um, and designing an engaging assessment, I am familiar with designing assessments as an educator. However, I don't think we really were able to do that this semester. Lastly, if we look at Learning Unit 3, I definitely think there's maybe a misalignment or a misunderstanding on my part of these learning objectives and how we are supposed to be achieving them. Um, so, to construct an online learning plan's multimodal content, we are constructing multimodal content in the reflection. So, I think that we can tick that one off. Evaluating a course according to learner engagement and experience, I think some of that was involved in the evaluation in the first practical project. Uh, though that was more evaluating multimodal content rather than, I don't know if we were evaluating a learner's experience and engagement as much. And then synthesizing multimedia content to align with and aid in course integrity and cohesion. Again, I'm not quite sure what that's referring to, though this right now is synthesizing multimedia content. So I think I have something to show there. So overall, I think learning unit 3, the objectives are a little bit confusing, and I'm not quite sure that I can say I've achieved all of this. For some positivity, if I look at my achievements so far this semester, I think there's a lot. I have grown in a lot of ways. One of the things I really enjoyed in creating multimodal content and multimedia content for this course and for the assessments is developing so many new skills, particularly in design, using programs such as Canva, Adobe Express, and many others uh, to create beautifully designed content. Though I still have a very, very long way to go. I think I'm definitely behind some of my peers in that kind of expertise, but I definitely feel like I've grown. I'm much more confident in creating a lot of the stuff and using these tools. So that's something I'm proud of. Um, I also think I have a much better grasp of a lot of the theories, as I said, even doing this reflection. Things like, for example, inclusivity and accessibility, universal design. Reflecting through it made me solidify my understanding a lot more and seeing how they overlap and how they are often are just used as the same thing, where maybe there is some nuance in their definition. Um, and I think definitely when it comes to learning preferences and the multimedia principles, I do feel more confident in looking at a piece of multimedia content and kind of identifying where the moving parts are, where you should maybe add something, take away something. Though of course it's much easier said than done, as I'm finding out. When I consider the challenges that I've had this semester, I definitely think a lot of the challenges lay on the academic side. I have done postgraduate studies before, but I think the combination of academic content, um, making uh, making academic materials, and doing the design component, it's definitely a big challenge for me. It's something that I struggle with, and I've always struggled when it comes to creating academic content based on literature. I've never enjoyed poring over literature, but it's something that I have to try and improve on. I do think that it helps when you're actually interested in the subject, like with instructional design here, and when you know that you're going to be creating something from it. Though I think this is one of the my overarching worries about this course is that we do need the academic rigor, but I also feel like there should be more emphasis on developing our practical skills. Uh, this is not particularly just for this module, but rather for the course as a whole, in that when you look at a job description for an instructional designer, I think having those practical skills, knowing how to use tools like, I think it's called Articulate, and some of the Adobe software, it's really, really important in building a portfolio. Although the theory has its place, I do think there should be more of a balance between the two. And I think what could help this is also having throughout a module, as I've said in some of my reflection, having small interactive quizzes or activities to familiarize yourself with the theory before you go deep into the literature and really dig into the theory. That definitely would, I think, improve my confidence when it comes to writing about it academically. Um, and when it comes to the practical skills, I think this could also be useful, giving small tasks that are based on a particular tool or software that instructional designers are expected to use. I just want to finish with some final thoughts. I think I have developed a lot of really useful skills as an instructional designer in this module. I have consolidated my understanding of theories behind the development of multimodal content and multimedia principles, and I think I can use all of this to develop very effective learning experiences online for my future users. I hope you've enjoyed my final reflection. Thank you so much for listening.